Looking here to see anything else that comes to mind. Not yet, so we'll have to keep going.
King Croc. King Croc. King Croc.
One of my favorites. I mean, it spurred a lot of American movies. Yeah! And we continue to make this movie over and over and over again. Also, one of my other favorites is Yojimbo. Bruce Lee, we lost him too soon. Great actor, great action, martial arts. I think he started the whole craze of martial arts films, at least in America. We still want to find another Bruce Lee. We're looking for him, okay? Parasite, fantastic film. It's just won a Golden Globe as best foreign film. It'll most be win an Academy Award. Great story, wonderful characters, a lot of relevance to the world today. Really surprisingly entertaining film, kind of a comedy, dramedy with a little bit of horror. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Whoa, whoa. Hey.
I'm sorry about that.
Here, put these on.
Quentin is a really auteur and makes just such interesting movies with real character depth and gets great performances. No wonder most of the actors in Hollywood would die to work with him. Rocket Man, another auteur performance by Taron Egerton. Fabulous performance. Well, this is a show that made me famous in television.
Pupa stage 3. English. I'm not an entomologist either. It's the third stage of larva metamorphosis.
Wonderful field for young students today. They're all getting into it because of this show. So also the criminals are getting smarter after watching this. They got to be more careful. They're not as silly as they were in the past because we'll catch them much easier. So it makes it much harder for them right now. It's great to look at it again. It's been a while since I've looked at these two actors, but they're great to work with. They're just wonderful. This is a classic too, Mad Men. Yeah. This is a really well done show.
So it's about an airline that's flown by Indians? Maybe a plane with some arrows stuck in the cargo door? That's funny. That's what gets people's attention now, right? Great characters. It's all about the characters, especially in this show. And I came from advertising, and this really gives you an inside look into that world. The research they did and the writing was just spectacular. Just to capture that period. Well, here's Hitchcock, one of the masters of suspense. And what's interesting about him is he storyboarded everything. Shooting the movie wasn't as exciting to him as working on the screenplay and actually doing the storyboards. So he's somebody that created his drama and everything based on his own imagination. Kind of get bored by the filmmaking process because he had to deal with actors. I'm not sure he cared that much about that, but he certainly gave a lot of actors, especially women, an opportunity to show how good they can be. And here's one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, David Lean. Lawrence of Arabia, character study. Same thing with Bridge on the River Kwai. Terrific character study. Kind of built my career out of watching his movies because I believe it's cinema, it's not radio, so the visuals are very important. So I always look for directors and cinematographers who bring something really special. This was really an inspiration to me when I was growing up. Such poetry, performance, a young actor. I'm not even sure he was an actor, but it's something that I always come back to this movie as something that I respect his work.
Oh, tu parles. Après un coup pareil, je peux pas retourner à la maison. Mon père, il a dit qu'il me mettrait au Britannique. Britannique, je connais pas. Oh, ben, ça doit être un truc militaire.
Jules and Jim, another one. It shows what a auteur he was. And, you know, it's so fun to re-look at these movies after you haven't seen them for many years. And you see how we have taken a lot of what French cinema has given us and we copy it. If you want to copy from the best. He's the best.
Et on restera toujours ensemble, tous les deux. Comme des petits vieux.
So we can go on the other side?
Okay. Some of my work here, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Armageddon, I remember when we first met with Bruce Willis, we were going to make Armageddon, and he wasn't sure he was going to make it or not, but we had lunch with him, and he said, look, if I do this, you got to promise me that I still die at the end. We kept our word, and he died at the end, because he was afraid that once the audiences would reject the fact that one of your lead characters died. A lot of the actors in here too, and created a whole new feeling about Michael Bay, who was the auteur who did this movie. And I was very fortunate to work with him on his first movie, which is Bad Boys, which is why we're here in Paris. We're making the third one. So Michael Bay and our writers and Will and Martin are the creators of this.
I'm the first guy through the door and I'm always the last guy to leave the crime scene. So you know what? Fuck you and fuck them and fuck everybody who got a problem with Mike Lowry.
When I was talking earlier about filmmakers who have a visual style, Michael has a phenomenal visual style. But what makes him unique is he can do drama, action, and comedy. Very few directors who can do really hardcore action can do the comedy that Michael does. Ah, yes. Well, Francis Ford Coppola is not only a terrific writer, but an amazing director. And this movie has such vivid characters taken from a book, but he made you feel you were in that world and with these characters. Even though they were gangsters, he made them sympathetic, and Coppola captured that.
Godfather. Good.
Well, Pirates of the Caribbean. Disney came to us and they had a script on Pirates of the Caribbean because they wanted to make a series of movies on their rides. So they came to us and said, look, you have $70 million, go make this movie. And the script was enormous, big action sequences, and no way we could have made it for $70 million. We went back to them and said, we can't make this into a PG movie. If you want to do it right, it's got to be PG-13. First PG-13 in Disney's history. Now, I always felt that Johnny Depp, besides being a terrific actor, was also somebody who could entertain large audiences. He picked very small niche movies that he did, very artistic films. You know, Johnny created this character, but he had a heart of gold. Even though he was somebody who always tried to take the edge, tried to get the advantage on whoever he was dealing with. But in the end, he made the right choice. Well, it's always difficult to do a sequel because the audience wants the same experience as the first movie, yet they don't want the same movie. And we've been very fortunate. We've done it a number of times very successfully. Sure, Raging Bull, God, Marty Scorsese is just a classic director. He's just done some brilliant, brilliant work, and hopefully will continue making great movies.
Put your hands up. What the fuck is so hard about that?
Hey, Joe, you don't understand. You don't understand. I had to fight a bum. He's a bum.
The Irishman is another tour de force for him, and De Niro. Bullet, this was one of the great car chases that everybody tries to emulate. I don't think anybody really has. When you see this, it's got so much energy and nuances to it. Peter Yates was really a special director with the camera. He's somebody who the camera became part of the actors and part of the scenes. Crimson Tide. This is something that when you put together two terrific actors and watch them work at it and how they go at each scene and how prepared they are, it was, you know, Denzel had to be on top of his game because he was dealing with Gene. And Gene is somebody who is such a strong force, not only on the set.
Welcome aboard the Alabama, son. Do me proud.
I will, sir.
Congratulations, Mr. Hunter.
Thank you.
This is one of Tony Scott's best movies, I think, and I've made like 5 or 6 of them with Tony.
Hey! Attention, le bord est pas mal glissant. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm experienced. You know, I don't want to come in here and look stupid.
I try.
Ridley, we did Black Hawk Down with Ridley, and he is the professor. He's the older brother. He's very smart. He's an artist just like Tony. They're both painters. In Black Hawk Down, he did an enormous amount of research too, talking to a lot of the soldiers who were there. We shot it in Morocco, and it was a place that was kind of just seeking in the atmosphere and the depth of what we tried to bring to this story of losing these 13 men, unfortunately. When you make a movie about real people and then you show it, and we showed it to their families, the phrase that kept coming up, "Thank you for making this movie. My husband or my father or my son will never be forgotten." And so that's a nice feeling. And unfortunately, we made it in a way that they accepted it and loved it.